Hi, I'm Gregory Iron. I'm the only professional wrestler with cerebral palsy and, to my knowledge, the only professional interviewer with cerebral palsy. And today, I'm backstage with BLACKFLY, and I'm sitting down with a guy that I don't know if I should be happy that I've known for so long, but I have. I've shared locker rooms with him. I've wrestled him. One time, I even gave him a black eye with a devastating cobra.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Carter Mason. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
You're not offended by a left-handed handshake, are you?
Never.
One time I did shake a guy's hand with my left, and he was very thrown off and almost tried to fight me, not realizing that I have a neurological disability. Then he let it go.
I would imagine and hope so, but yeah. No offense taken. More so to the black eye, but I believe we're past that now.
Do you want to explain what happened?
Yeah, he punched me in the face with his strong hand, the left one, the right one.
To say that it was a punch.
It wasn't a punch. It was a cobra.
It was a cobra.
It was a cobra, and that thing went right in the eye, and that's what happened.
I was teaming with, and you were wrestling the legendary Santino Marella.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. He didn't give me a cobra, though.
He did not.
No, it was you.
But it was.
Nor did he give me a black eye.
Once we yell cobra,
right,
it's time for the cobra.
Sure.
Okay.
I guess that was my fault for not being better prepared.
Well,
right.
Anything can happen in professional wrestling and top-tier wrestling, which you've been here since the start.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talk to me about your experience with top tier over the past couple of years.
I'm going to do you one better. I'm going to take you back to when I was 15, because I've been here from the very, very, very start.
Okay.
So top tier wrestling, I have been here from the start, but top tier wrestling, how old am I? 30? We're not going to say. Back when I was 15, many years ago, it was actually a wrestling school / promotion called Living Legends Wrestling. Also known at school was Living Legends Wrestling Academy. So my original trainer was the owner of Top Tier Wrestling. I wrestled for both LLWA and LLW. They kind of dissolved for a while. You know, I went and got trained by some other people and did my thing. And then Top Tier was created, and they asked me to come in, and it didn't take a second thought to come here. So yeah, since the beginning I've been here, the very, very beginning. I've got a long history with them, and it's a team that I'm very proud to be a part of. Yeah.
You know, we mentioned obviously that you've gotten to wrestle against Santino Marella. Tonight, you have a big task on your hands. I don't know if you've ever been in the ring with him. World traveled, been doing this for almost as long as we've been alive.
That's
I mean,
right.
I think he started when he was like 13 years old. TJ Perkins, TJP.
That's right.
How do you feel about this match tonight?
Again, we're going to go back down memory road, because back again when I was 15, 16, there was a company called UWA Hardcore.
Yes.
Are you aware of?
Legendary promotion in professional wrestling lore.
Yeah, yeah. Based out of Mississauga. Everyone loves to say Toronto, but it was actually out of Mississauga. And I would skip high school, and I'd take the 45 bus for about 45 minutes to the venue, and I'd help set up chairs in the ring and yada, 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 and then I get to watch the show. And I did this for years. And on one of these events, TJP, who was at the time known as Puma, was on this event, and I was sitting off on the stage by myself, just kind of keeping out of the way and watching the event. Puma came and sat beside me, TJP came and sat beside me, and spent an hour, 2 hours sitting with me, talking to me, giving me advice, giving me guidance, giving me time that he didn't owe me. I didn't pay him for. He had no return on his investment per se, you know, but just decided to do that for a young gentleman. And I've never forgotten that. Again, 30s now, and I still remember that. So we have not touched. That was the closest I've ever come to TJP. I'm very excited for tonight.
When you mentioned you going early to UWA shows to set up chairs and all that stuff, was that you getting your foot in the door of the business?
To a degree.
Okay.
I had actually been already training with the owner of Top Tier Wrestling for a tad at that time.
Gotcha.
But again, 15, 16, how far can that foot be in, right?
Sure.
So it was definitely, I would say yes, because it was the introduction to the grander world of wrestling and superstars, indie superstars, and things like this. I mean, most of the people on that roster that I helped set up for are now were signed, world champions, you know what I mean? This, like you said, wasn't a lackluster or just a fly-by-night thing. So it really, I believe, introduced me beyond the elementary level, the introductory level, to what professional wrestling is, for sure.
When you start getting to these shows early and you're helping with the stuff that I feel like people take for granted, right? The setup of the show. How did that help build your character and appreciation for the show itself over time? Because I feel like there's so many young guys that enter the business that when they think of becoming a pro wrestler, they just think of, well, if I was a wrestler, I'd come out to this entrance theme, and my character would be this. And it's usually pretty generic, either good guy or bad guy, without much depth to it. They think about raising a championship belt over their head. They don't think about the grind that comes with it, getting to the shows, what happens before and after the show. So how did that shape you going forward as a wrestler?
I would chalk it up to the respect that it instills just for the sport, for the profession, for yourself, for the other people on the event. It's the same reason why I love the fact that I did freestyle wrestling for so long, because it teaches you self-discipline, self-respect, but win or loss, it also teaches you respect for your opponent, etc., right? So it's not all glitz and glamour and the 10, 20 minutes in the ring. Most of it, hours of it, is the grind before, after, driving to, going through snowstorms, flipping your car, crashing flat tires. Like, that's the grind of professional wrestling. And as you mentioned, I believe a lot of people do miss that aspect of it. They see the 10 minutes in the ring, they see their music playing in the lights, but they don't see that before and after. And I also feel that at that time, I'm sure you can relate, neither of us are larger gentlemen, right? And at that time especially, we were anomalies, I'd argue.
Sure.
Okay? So doing these things voluntarily with a smile on my face, whilst the other gentlemen that were much bigger and popular and etc. knew how much it sucks, I believe gained me a level of placement. I'm not going to necessarily say respect at that level yet, but it allowed me to keep my foot in the door. And then from there, it was up to me to make or break it, right?
Yeah. It's one of those things where, we could say it all we want, but people are going to judge a book by its cover. You show up and you're 5'0", basically. They're not going to look at you and say, oh, this guy's got a lot of potential, right? So you have to show them beyond the surface and show them your heart. And I think that applies to every aspect of life, right?
Absolutely.
Like pro wrestling is like life, where it's not just black and white, it's shades of gray. And you have to, no matter what your situation is, when you don't look the type, you need to find a way to break through. And it sounds like that you figured that out pretty quickly.
Unintentionally. It wasn't, until things started rolling and you build that momentum, and a lot of not sleepless, but struggling nights and difficult nights and questioning nights. You and I have both even discussed. We've had those nights and shared those nights. It wasn't until down the road that you realize, and cliche, but the journey is what, is everything.
Yeah. And
without those, and without doing that type of stuff, who knows what I would have accomplished? Who knows if I would be wrestling TJP here tonight, And all the time I make comparisons between professional wrestling and life, because it's just, they are so clashed, I don't feel enough people appreciate that fact, that they are so intertwined, and lessons you take from life can be applied to wrestling, but also vice versa. But I can say that in the moment of doing it, I was just a young kid that was excited to be around wrestling, and however I could help, I wanted to help. I just wanted to be immersed in it. That was what I loved, And then years later, a decade later, you realize just how fundamental that was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you think about your lowest point in this wrestling journey, what does that look like for you? Because I feel like I have a few of them, but something that jumps out in my mind, which again, people don't see that on camera, right? Like, we don't necessarily publicize that, from behind the scenes. I remember there was a time where I was headed from Cleveland to New York City with a show in between in somewhere in central Pennsylvania. Big opportunity to be on Fox News, Fox and Friends. Halfway to the journey of the show, my car breaks down. Breaks down beyond repair. I'm a poor wrestler who's got some notoriety, but I still don't got the money that's required with the notoriety.
Yeah.
And so I get my car towed by using someone else's AAA, because I can't afford my own AAA. And the guy tells me that it's only going to cost like $300 to fix my car. So I go, $300? That's going to be a big ask. And he goes, no, 3,000.
Yep.
Your engine's blown. And then he goes, and you can't keep your car on my lot if you can't pay for that. So I'll buy your car for $100 right now. And I thought to myself, gee, the jack in my car is worth like $75 alone. So naturally, I sold my car on the spot.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting on the side of the road crying,
Yep.
wondering not just how am I going to get to this show and how am I going to get to this big opportunity in New York City, but what am I going to do after the fact? And if you have the determination, you'll find a way. But in that moment, boy, did it suck. So when you think about the lowest of the low, what does that look like for Carter Mason?
I would have to say, and it was to a degree, I'm not gonna say publicized, but I wasn't overtly quiet about it. I kept the worst of it to the heart, you know. But it had been going on for a while, and my energy had absolutely changed, and I wanted people to understand why. I didn't want people to just be like, he's a dick, you know. Usually I am, but it wasn't, at this time it wasn't, right? So I was coming back from Halifax, driving back with Tyson Dukes, which is about, you know, from Toronto to Halifax, about 18-hour drive each way. We were in Kingston-ish, so probably about 4 hours remaining. And I just realized I was really dehydrated. And at that time, I was in the best shape of my life. Looked like $1 million, did not feel like $1 million. Body was very broken, but looked it and was very on my P's and Q's with my water and things. So feeling a little dehydrated, let me just plow a quick bottle of water, you know. And like 10 minutes later, I had never had to go pee so bad in my life. And so I'm like, Tyson, if you don't pull over right now, I'm gonna piss in your car. So pulled over, found an alley, did my business, got back in, started driving. 10 minutes later, the exact same urgency and feeling. And I'm like, oh, this is new, right? So I went to the doctor, and he goes, oh, you've got a UTI, it's no problem. Take this for a couple weeks, come back, you'll be good as new. No problem. Went back, 2 weeks later, hadn't improved, so we'll just need some stronger antibiotics. He went like this, oh, you have cancer. And
Very nonchalant.
very nonchalant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that all? Have a great day.
Yeah. So, by the way, you have cancer. The reception will see you out.
Good Lord.
Yeah, very just like that, like
Wow.
very nonchalant, just, you know, and no, nothing in between, just UTI to cancer, which was like, but you're the doctor.
How old were you at this point?
28? No, 29.
Okay.
I know this because I was able, from independent wrestling, to first buy this ring, which is one of my proudest things. As you know, with wrestling, once we retire, we don't get to keep our belts. We don't get trophies or medals, or, you know, so this was my trophy. You know, it says KOTN, it has my lion. This was my trophy to me, and I was able to afford this and to send my mom to Europe to see her sister for her birthday.
That's amazing.
And that was all off of independent wrestling, which was incredible. So she was there on my 30th birthday, and I was going through this for about 2 weeks at that time. So I was 29 when this occurred. I had actually messaged, I'm not going to say the individual's name because neither here nor there, but I had messaged a popular wrestler whom I trusted and trained with. And this was before this occurred, probably about a month out. And I said, hey man, my mom has to help me tie my shoes. I can't, like, I can go out there and do a 5-star, and then I'm being helped into the car, and I'm being helped to the back.
So this person knows that you're going to wrestle with cancer.
No.
No.
So this is before the cancer.
Before the cancer. Gotcha.
Diagnosis.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Gotcha.
So a month before that, I messaged this individual saying, hey, this is how I'm feeling. They had had a different injury, but a similar situation. I go, I know, because my momentum was very high at the time. I go, I know the moment you take your step out, you go from here to here, and you have to rebuild it. So I was going to the wheels fall off. That drive home from Halifax was the wheels falling off. So for a year, I went through every test you could imagine. I had cameras, not to get too vulgar, but in any place you can put them. And thanking God, everything came back negative. Problem was, everything was still there symptom-wise, right? So I actually found a new doctor. I went through a lot of doctors, a lot of specialists, a lot of urologists, all told me the same thing, you're fine. But I knew I wasn't fine. So I finally found a doctor. He did the same testing I'd already done, but he said, you're new to me, so I just want to recheck it and clear everything, and then we'll take it from there step by step. I'm fine. So we did that. Blood work comes back normal. He's looking at it. He's puzzled, like everyone else has been. And he goes, have you ever had your pelvic floor checked? And I went, what is that? And he went, come with me, because they had a specialist there. And the moment they checked it, they went, this is not cancer. This is your pelvic floor. So I had severe pelvic floor dysfunction based off of the amount of trauma from wrestling that I was putting my body through, the lifting I was doing, and no recovery time. Could have been avoided with knowledge, right? But just I had overdone it. We said wheels fell off, they fell off, right? So even once it was confirmed it was that, I still had my doubts. No, I'm not going to get better. No, this is a wrap. I had a therapist tell me that I had to mourn my relationship with wrestling. I'll never forget that. And boy, did that make me mad.
Sure.
I'm not going to use the words I used, but we ended the session there, and I told her that she's wrong, and I'll be back. And here we are, almost a decade later. Less than that, but we're approaching it, you know. But it took a year to come back from that as well. Once it was diagnosed, physiotherapy, all that stuff, that was easily my lowest. Followed closely by a random gut issue that, same kind of thing, couldn't be placed. Fixed it myself, but it had given me the feeling of like 24/7 nausea. I felt like I was hungover always. Wow. Spins, and I don't drink. You know, I might have a casual whatever here and there.
But you only drinks if it's.
I do like me a BlackFly, and that's not just promotion. I do enjoy a nice BlackFly after a hard match. That's the truth.
There you go.
Gin all day. That gin right here. See beside me. Meant to be. Pineapple's the best. We don't get it here, but just so you know, I'm not bullshitting.
If I was drinking, I'd be drinking this BlackFly. I tell you that right now.
So. Did a lot of research on that one, a lot of bone broth, and just changing things up, destroying a lot of bacterias, and we fixed it. But that first one where the pelvic floor went on me, that I was at the highest of the highs, like you said, and I don't think I've ever felt lower in my life. You know our good friend Lindsay Dorado?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had I messaged you one evening when you were having a rough evening, and I was equally, and I said, hey, man, we're both going to get through this, and we did. But I had one of those evenings with him as well, where I had to call him, and at like 2 in the morning, he gave me very good talk, which helped continue me on, I think, you know. But I had given up. I had gotten fat. I was laying on my mom's couch eating chocolate chip pancakes and cared about nothing else because I was just so miserable. Wrestling was out of the question. Living was out of the question. So that, from being able to buy a diamond ring and send my mom to Europe to being a nobody, you know, just in life in general, we'll take wrestling outside of it, you know, that was the highest of the highs, the lowest of the lows for sure.
How did you get back to feeling like you, Carter Mason? Was it a moment in wrestling? Was it a moment outside of wrestling? Or what did it take for you to get that confidence back in yourself?
I'm not going to say I didn't get the confidence back, but that Carter Mason was dead. And this is something, sometimes I struggle with it because I feel like, was that the better version? You know? But then when I've been able to sit on it, you know, it's the evolution. You can't, even if that didn't happen, I couldn't stay that guy forever. You know? You can still be king of the north, you can still be whatever, but you can't stay 29 forever, you can't stay 17 forever, you can't stay 35 forever, you know? That was the most, some will argue, successful I was, maybe financially with wrestling. But then after that, I did my Monday Night Raw spot, and I got to get thrown off the table by Matt Riddle, you know, and that, to me, that was cooler than the match because as a fan, as a child, like watching Mae Young get powerbombed off the stage, like anything with the stage and stuff, it was just so cool, you know, and now I get to be that guy, stop it, you know. So if I didn't evolve from that Carter Mason that I feel died when that occurred, maybe I didn't get that Raw spot, just like I mentioned, you know what I mean? So I don't think he ever came back, and I wouldn't say he's sitting here with you now, but I'm confident, and I believe in myself, and I'm still Carter Mason. So not the same one, but definitely an evolved version.
Well, that evolved version gets to wrestle TJP tonight, and I'm assuming you're hoping for victory, and I would imagine with the victory comes momentum. Where are you going to carry that momentum into your continuation throughout your journey in top-tier wrestling? What does that look like?
Hopefully to the top. I've always been, through hard work, very successful in companies, and like yourself, it's come through hard work. You know, I'm not typically the you look like our guy, you know, so I have to prove I'm that guy.
Yeah.
Top tier, it seems, I mean, not for lack of talent, but I've struggled to maybe get that same positioning and momentum that I have with easier effort, we'll say, in other companies my whole life, you know, and that's across the world. I've wrestled in Europe, across the States, across Canada, you know, not many places that have escaped me, you know, and I've always been able to get my footing in there. I'm hoping that a victory over TJP today will be that step in the right direction.
Well, you know, I didn't expect this conversation to go this way, but I'm happy that it did. And I will say that, you know, we've had our private conversations, and with this public one that we could share with the world.
Absolutely.
I'm happy to say that you inspired me today. And I don't know what happened to that other Carter Mason. Sometimes, you know, when I see you on camera, I don't particularly like this Carter Mason. But right now, in this moment, I'm happy to know you, and I wish you the very best against TJP tonight.
Thank you
and
so much,
hopefully we
Greg.
can do this again soon.
I would love to, anytime.
All right.
Thank you.